Welcome back, folks, to WrestleRant. I'm Graham Giusten Matthews, and all March long we're talking about past installments of the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view as seen on the WWE Network. In my past videos, I've already talked about Chambers 2010 and 2011, and today we're talking about Elimination Chamber 2012. So like I've said before the WWE Network, I think I paid for all of 4 pay-per-views that I ordered myself and I watched from my home. I ordered Night of Champions 2010, Royal Rumble 2010 was the first one, Rumble 2010, Night of Champions 2010, Royal Rumble 2013, and Money in the Bank 2013. That's it. I watched a bunch of other shows, including at John's house and, WrestleManias at friend's house and stuff. But I did watch a handful of pay-per-views at Buffalo Wild Wings. I think 5 in total. This show, Elimination Chamber 2012, when a friend told me about, that they had pay-per-views at Buffalo Wild Wings, they said, sign me up, I'll be there. And I was on February break anyway, so it worked out perfectly. So I watched the show. Wasn't a great show, which we'll talk about in a second. That's neither here nor there. It's neither here nor there in the meantime. But so I watched Elimination Chamber 2012. I watched SummerSlam 2012 there. That's 2 pay-per-views. I watched Elimination Chamber 2013 there, which we'll talk about in my next video. SummerSlam 2013, and Survivor Series 2013. So 5 pay-per-views in total at Buffalo Wild Wings. This started the streak. This began a 5-time thing of going to Buffalo Wild Wings for pay-per-views. I don't think they still do them. I called them in the summer of 2014. With the network out now, I highly doubt they do, and I think prices were raised up. But whatever. That sucks. But I've talked about that here before on, in past video blogs here on the channel. But Elimination Chamber 2012, that's where you guys came here for my review of the show. Kicking it off, an Elimination Chamber match for the WWE Championship. CM Punk defending against Kofi Kingston, Dolph Ziggler, R-Truth, Chris Jericho, and The Miz. Very well wrestled. Punk and Kofi Kingston, I believe, starting out. Let me double check. I'm pretty sure it was, Kofi and Punk starting out, and they also acknowledged the history between the two as former World Tag Team Champions together, which was pretty cool. We never really got to see much of Punk and Kingston against each other. I know they had one singles match in the spring of 2011, in May of 2011, but that was it. They never faced off again after that, which was a shame because I really thought they had a lot of great history and chemistry together. And they showed that in this match. R-Truth was the first one taken out by CM Punk. Jericho came in and forced Ziggler to tap out, I believe, with the walls of Jericho, or I think he pinned him after he would pin Kingston. He would force Kingston to tap out with the walls of Jericho and pin Ziggler with a code breaker. That's what it was. But Jericho was soon taken out by a kick to the head from CM Punk, and he tumbled it to the outside of the chamber. It was so well done, it looked real. It looked like he concussed himself by falling on the ground and crashing into a cameraman and falling on the barricade and just toppling down out of the ground. So it looked like it was a real thing. It looked like it was legitimate, but it wasn't. It was a total angle just to protect Jericho. And it seemed like because he was taken out, he would resurface and come back in the chamber and win the championship, but he didn't. It was just WWE's way of ensuring that he wasn't going to get pinned. So it came down to CM Punk and The Miz, which was a lot better than you would expect it to be. I mean, Miz was in the doghouse apparently at that point. A lot of people thought he would be the first one gone. He lasted until the very end. And he hit the skull-crushing finale on Punk at one point. I'm like, oh shit, is he actually going to win? But I was like, no, it's The Miz. He probably won't win. Because by that point, he was kind of a joke. But regardless, not as big of a joke as he would later become, but still, he wasn't credible. He wasn't really a threat to win the championship. A lot of great back-and-forth action between Miz and Punk. In the end, Punk retaining the WWE Championship inside the chamber. After that, for the Divas Championship, Beth Phoenix taking on Tamina in a throwaway match. No one really bought Tamina as a legitimate threat to the Divas Championship. She really was not getting over all too well as a babyface. The match was just kind of there. I was hoping the saving grace would be Karma coming out later, because she returned in the Rumble match. I figured, and also the commentators were playing up the fact that, Divas, Beth Phoenix is the most dominant Divas champion of all time. Who's ever going to stop her? So I'm thinking, all right, so she'll be, facing Karma at WrestleMania, and that would not happen. Karma never came back after the Rumble, and that whole thing is very well documented, what happened with her between her and WWE. But the match was not good. It probably went a lot longer than it should have. It went 7 minutes, but I would have just cut it down at 4 because no one gave a shit. After that, another Elimination Chamber match. You would think this would have closed the show, or I would have closed the show with the Elimination Chamber match of the WWE title. But I'll talk about the main event in a couple minutes. This chamber match for the World Heavyweight Championship had Daniel Bryan defending the title against Santino Marella. Yes, Santino, and I'll get to that in a second. Cody Rhodes, Big Show, The Great Khali, and Wade Barrett. A completely fucking different cast of characters than what we saw in the opener, which I thought was great. This one was very random. Santino filled in for Randy Orton, of all people, who got hurt on the Raw before this show. I thought he was going to win to set up him and Barrett and maybe Bryan at WrestleMania, but I don't think he was going to win anyway, considering I think the long-term plan was to do him and Sheamus, Bryan and Sheamus at WrestleMania. I'm not exactly sure. But we got Santino here instead, and you know that Orton getting hurt did change plans because Santino lasted until the very end. But before that, he took out Barrett, he took out Cody Rhodes, which really pissed me off. Barrett got hurt anyway the next night on Raw, so it didn't really matter how he was being booked at that point. Cody Rhodes was the IC champion, who took out Big Show, which was a nice little surprise. That would set up their IC title match at WrestleMania. Khali was taken out in almost a minute, which was good to see, but then it's like, then why the fuck was he in the match to begin with? You know what I mean? But regardless, the ending sequence between Bryan and Santino, the crowd was fucking eating it up. It was great to see. And he got a great reaction, which would later lead to him winning the U.S. Championship because officials thought he deserved it after the little run that he had in this match and being so over. And again, it was a lot like Jerry Lawler in 2011 at the 2011 installment, where I thought for a split second, oh my God, could they actually give him a WWE, a world championship match here, like a world title run, albeit for a day? But I mean, it's Daniel Bryan. They've never believed in him before. Could they actually give the championship to Santino? And ultimately, they didn't. I think he hit the Cobra and Bryan kicked out. It was like, oh my God, that was a relief. A massive relief for me anyway. Bryan forced Santino to tap out clean, so a nice little clean win for him to set up his world title match with Sheamus, who came out afterwards and attacked Bryan, solidifying their match at WrestleMania 28. After that, in an unadvertised match that was added to the card at the last minute, we had Jack Swagger defending the United States Championship against Justin Gabriel. Throwaway match, no one cared. Fine for what it was, but no one gave a shit. We also had a segment I forgot to talk about. We had John Laurinaitis coming out and petitioning that he become both the Raw and SmackDown general manager, being endorsed by the returning likes of Mark Henry, who was supposed to be in the chamber, but I think he was too hurt, so they took him out. Whatever. But he was back in action like a week later, so I don't get it. Whatever. So Mark Henry came out and endorsed John Laurinaitis, as did Alberto Del Rio, who hadn't been seen in about 2 months after getting injured in the final Raw, or one of the final Raws of 2011. And also Christian, who returned to the 2011 installment too, so that was great to see Christian back in action, or not back in action. I think he would also be taken out a short while later because he was not, officially medically cleared to compete at WrestleMania 28, unfortunately. But he did come back on this show, which was great to see, all endorsing John Laurinaitis and taking a funny picture with David Otunga, which was hilarious. If you type it in Google, I'm sure you'll find it. So the main event was an ambulance match between John Cena and Kane. The feud was really not that good at all. It was all about the love triangle, Cena, Zack Ryder, and Eve, and Kane was interjecting himself and saying, "Rise above the hate," which was good in theory, and in practice it sucked. The matches weren't good. I thought the Rumble match was awful. This match wasn't that much better. The match really wasn't all that exciting at all. It was better when it was Kane and Shane in 2013, or rather in 2003. John Cena and Kane, not nearly as good. But anyway, it was better than the Rumble match, which is not saying much. I guess they wanted to build to the spot with Kane getting AA'd off the top of the ambulance, which was cool, I guess, but it was very predictable that Cena would win. The only thing I got out of this, too, was that they wanted to prep Cena for the main event of WrestleMania. He's going to be in the main event of WrestleMania, so we'll give him the main event slot, which makes no sense because they didn't give him the main event in 2013's installment of Elimination Chamber, whereas they did in, he was the main event of WrestleMania 29 too, so that logic is thrown out the window. But speaking of Cena, so I don't end this review on a sour note, there did air, a video package did air for Cena promoting how good of a guy he was going to WrestleMania, all the time he spends in the gym. It's an iconic picture. When I watched the pay-per-view back a couple weeks ago, I posted the picture on Twitter. It was him sitting in a gym at the Hard Knocks gym or whatever, right? I don't think it was FCW, but a lot of FCW guys were in the package. Seth Rollins was there. Xavier Woods, I think, was there. Big E, Roman Reigns, Percy Watson, Derek Bateman, who is, was now a two-time TNA World Heavyweight Champion. Percy Watson got dismissed. Roman Reigns, former World Champion. Big E, former IC and Tag Team Champion. Seth Rollins, former World Heavyweight Champion. So a lot of stars in one little video package. I remember marking out just seeing Xavier Woods in the package or whoever. I think Seth Rollins, but I think it was more notable to see guys like Rollins and Reigns going to Cena for advice, considering Cena would face them in that same event 1 year later. So talk about a turn of events. Dean Ambrose, I have to mention, was not in the package, but Roman Reigns, or Leaky as he was known at that time, and Seth Rollins were. So that was cool. But the show on the whole is not at all worth watching. I remember being kind of underwhelmed by the show at that point. I think it was supposed to take place in Connecticut. I would have enjoyed it just being there, but watching it live at at Buffalo Wild Wings was a cool experience because there weren't really that many people there, just a group of guys that were there by themselves to watch the show. So I was talking with them back and forth. So it was a cool experience for that alone. But the show itself, if you're going to watch it on your laptop or on your PS4, Xbox 360, or Xbox One, I guess the kids have nowadays. I don't play video games, so I have no idea, to be honest with you. I don't want to date myself. I'm only 21, but I'm only 20, but I don't play video games all too much. But anyway, what was I even saying? Oh yeah, Elimination Chamber 2012. If you're going to watch the show on your PS4, your Xbox One, or your Wii U, which I know they don't even have it on Wii U, but you get what I'm saying here. It's not worth it. The show is not worth it. If anything, check out the opener. If you want to check out the World Title Chamber match, you can. I didn't really think it was that great. Maybe for the Santino saga, who was working out to Eugene's theme music throughout the night, which was strange. But it was an entertaining match, I guess, to a degree. The opener I thought was a lot better. The return of Christian was cool. So was Del Rio and Henry. It was cool seeing them. But the whole show was not really meaningful at all. It was kind of a waste. Very predictable. But unlike the 2011 installment, it really wasn't all that exciting. Cena and Kane was the Swagger and Justin Gabriel match was and the Divas title match was the two chamber matches were good, just very predictable, and it was kind of silly to have both champions retain with all odds stacked against them to retain the titles inside the chamber. Both of them. So that was kind of ass backwards. But still, two very good matches, especially the opener. So any one match I would suggest watching or recommending from this show, it would be the WWE Championship Elimination Chamber match. So that is my review of Elimination Chamber 2012. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Be sure to check out all my other reviews here on WrestleRant from the past couple of years here on the show. We're coming up on the 2-year anniversary of when I started doing reviews. WrestleRant has been going on for 5 years now here on YouTube, believe it or not. But I started doing these pay-per-view reviews 2 years ago here on the channel, going into WrestleMania, I almost said 29, 30 2 years ago. I got to do the math. It's early Saturday morning. You got to give me a break here, people. I lied. It's 1:18. But anyway, so 1:18 in the afternoon, not in the morning. But regardless, enough about me. Be sure to, or I guess a little bit more about me before we wrap up here. Be sure to follow me on Twitter at WrestleRant. Find me on Facebook at facebook.com/graham.jason.matthews. And also be sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe. All your support is greatly appreciated. So have a great rest of your weekend, depending on when you're listening to this. I'm Graham Jason Matthews, and I'll catch you folks down the road.